Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and it's time for my comic review of the week. These comics came out April 17th, 2013. Let's get started with DC. First off, Justice League number 19. The issue opens up with someone breaking into the Batcave, and first they take out Red Hood and Alfred. Then they break into Batman's hidden vault. In the cave, and once this person gets into the vault, they find the failsafes that Batman has set up for each member of the Justice League. And although these failsafes are for the original members, not because you can see a Green Lantern box in there. And also he picks up the one for Superman. And of course we see a green light, which obviously means it's kryptonite. And meanwhile, while the break-in's happening at the Batcave, Superman and Wonder Woman infiltrate a terrorist cell in and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but Kandaki, the country that Black Adam's from. In fact, the terrorist cell is even named after Black Adam. So they infiltrate it and they stop the terrorists, but it also sparks an international incident because the U.S. apparently isn't supposed to set foot, and everyone's confused and they assume that Superman and Wonder Woman are doing this on behalf of the U.S. government. So naturally that's a big political uproar. And when Batman hears about the break-in, he's getting the cave inspected by Aquaman and Cyborg, and Cyborg then lets him know that Wonder Woman and Superman are dealing with terrorists, and Batman says, "Take me there." So Batman goes and finds Wonder Woman and Superman, and he talks to them about how, he knows about their relationship and that they are spending time together, but when the public sees them together, they technically represent the Justice League of America, and right now they pretty much don't want the public. Batman tells them that they have to be careful because they don't want the public eye turned against the League again. And so Batman warns Superman that someone broke into his vault and stole the thing that can hurt you. And of course Wonder Woman's confused, wait, what are you talking about? And then we cut to the JLA the Watchtower, and the only people on it are Firestorm and the New Adam, who pretty much arrived there awaiting the other League members for their big initiation ceremony. And while they're up there, the Watchtower gets attacked by Despero, who is wearing the Despero. I said that wrong. Sorry. Despero is wearing the kryptonite ring. So, and the Shazam backup feature. It's just pretty much Billy learning more information about who Black Adam was and when the Wizard gave him his powers and stuff. Justice League number 19. I'd say it's all right. Okay, I'd say if you haven't read this series and you want to give it a shot just before Trinity War starts in a few months, I would say this is probably a good jump-on point for you. Also, I think this story arc might be a little reminiscent of Tower of Babel, which was Batman's failsafes for the jail against the JLA gang in the wrong hands, and the League learning about it. So that might be. So that's obviously what the story is based around. And obviously, my theory is that, and obviously we know that Despero is behind this, and my theory is that Despero must have mind-controlled Batman to break into the cave and make it look like it was someone else. Because, when the robber's going through all this, he's not really breaking in. He's really just, unlocking everything with fingerprints, retina scans. That's my theory, that obviously Despero may have controlled Batman, and Batman might not have been aware of it. So, and again, the kryptonite ring, I really don't think Superman's going to be that mad at Batman because if you remember, originally he gave the ring to Superman, but, Superman originally gave the ring to Batman. However, this might not be the case. We don't know. We don't know how the rest of the League is going to react, but, I liked Tower of Babel, so I'm going to give this story arc a shot and hope it doesn't, mess anything up. But right now, if you're new to the Justice League and you want to start reading this series for the Trinity War, I would say right now you should get this for a jumping-on point. And the only other reason is if you love Tower of Babel. Okay, next up from DC, Nightwing number 19. It's official. Nightwing has moved to Chicago. The reason he moved to Chicago, he's in Chicago, is because he recently found out that Tony Zuko, the man who killed his parents, is alive. So Dick Grayson sublets an apartment, and as Nightwing, he goes off into the city trying to find out where Zuko is, what he's doing, and it's revealed to the reader that apparently Zuko is working for the mayor of Chicago. And also we're briefly introduced to a new foe called, new version of an old foe, the Prankster, who apparently, Nightwing doesn't actually meet the Prankster. The reader's just kind of introduced at the start of the issue. It's just implied that right now the Prankster is some sort of cyber terrorist, but now we see him taking on the last few pages, he takes more of a supervillain kind of role. So again, this is a good jump-on point for people who haven't been reading Nightwing. I mean, Nightwing is awesome, and it's probably one of the best new series that DC Comics is publishing right now. I mean, you ask anyone who's read this, and they'll say, oh yeah, Nightwing's pretty awesome. So, and I love Nightwing, and I would say that anyone who hasn't read this, you should start reading with this issue, because this is a very good jump-on point. Nightwing's new city, new villain. Can't wait to see what happens when if Nightwing finally finds Zuko and what he does. Okay, that's it for DC. Next up, we're moving on to Marvel, starting Iron Man number 8, Part 3, and the conclusion to the God Killer story arc. Tony continues his trial by combat, which ultimately is against this guy who's a robot called Death Sand, and apparently a robot. And even though this competition is based on natural abilities, apparently a robot is allowed because that's his nature or something. But as long as he doesn't use any extensions like missiles or flamethrower, he's fine. Not really sure why, but anyways, Tony fights this guy, and the guy who helped him throughout this, who has an ulterior motive, Recorder 451, he breaks into where Tony's armor is being held and activates the Pepper AI and is able to send the armor to Tony in the arena. And Tony gets the armor. He gets the armor. He defeats his opponent, then flies away from the arena. And of course, now we know why 451. Also, we know why 451 stole the cloaking device that the Voldy have last issue. It was so that their location would be revealed to the Celestials. And right when Tony escapes, he heads over to his flying armory, which is something he's been using since the series began to kind of upgrade his armor whenever he needs it, and to upgrade his blaster, and he's able to take out the robotic soldiers that followed him, but suddenly they all shut down because the Celestials have annihilated everyone in the Voldy. And when Tony goes to inspect it, he learns that 451 was behind the whole thing, and 451 reveals that he did this because he's trying to save the universe, and billions of people die every day. He's trying to stop it, and if he has to sacrifice a few billion to make it happen, then so be it. And of course, that really does not suit well with Tony, because at the end of the issue, he declares that he's going to capture 451 and bring him to justice. Okay, Iron Man God Killer. At the start of this, I really didn't have a good feeling about it right when I saw the AVX banner. This is just some sort of very weak attempt at an aftermath for Avengers vs. X-Men. I mean, you really don't need to read this story arc. I mean, it was very dull. Yeah, that's the correct word. Dull, uneventful, and it barely even gives us a taste about what Tony Stark is doing in space. I mean, I think if you want to know what Tony's been doing in space, you should read Guardians of the Galaxy, because that might give you more of a story. This was just dull, uneventful. So pretty much, I would say, and next to story arc, we're getting into the big secret origin of Iron Man. So I'd say right now, don't read I'd say for Iron Man right now, don't get the last 3 issues. Save yourself some money and start reading Iron Man next month when we begin the whole secret origin thing with issue 9. But God Killer, overall, dull, uneventful. If you can, skip it. Alright, now, Captain America, number 6. Captain America is angry. That's how we can describe it. He's angry. He wants his son back, so he's going full frontal assault on Zemo's Zola. Sorry, I don't know why I said Zemo. Anyways, he goes full frontal assault on Zola's fortress. He's breaking in, taking out all the soldiers. While he's doing this, Zola is preparing to brainwash Ian. Zola's biological son, but really he's Steve's adoptive son, Ward, whatever. And he starts brainwashing Ian by showing him all this footage of World War II, of Captain America and Bucky from World War II, trying to, illustrate that Captain America's not a good man and stuff. And by the end of the issue, it shows that Ian is starting to move over to Zola's side, which isn't good. And also during the issue, when Steve is breaking into the fortress, he does manage to confront Jezebel Jet, and he demands that she tell him Ian's location, but Jet doesn't give it to him, and she says that Ian's lost you forever. And then we see Steve Rogers say, "Fine, then Zola's lost. Then Zola will lose you too," and he shoots her. Off panel though, we see Steve fire the gun, but we don't see the shot hit Jet, so we don't know if it's fatal or not. It's implied to be, but who knows? And then the next scene after that was Ian getting brainwashed to Zola's side of things. Okay, Captain America number 6. I really do like this Zola story arc in Dimension Z. It's very nice. I like the idea that Steve now has sort of a young adoptive son war type thing, and also that we get and also this is a very different type of story from what we've seen in Captain America when Ed Brubaker wrote it. When Ed Brubaker wrote Captain America, it was more of like spy stuff. This is more sci-fi, different element, and it's very interesting to see this with Captain America, who technically really isn't a big sci-fi hero. He's more of like a war intelligence spy operative type thing, but this is actually a pretty great story, and I would definitely recommend this to Captain America fans right now. It's very nice, action-packed, so, and plus we're getting to the conclusion, and unfortunately though this is almost over, so I'd say right now, in a few months, this will be done, and then a new story arc will begin, so that will probably be a good jump-on point, but for right now, if you haven't been reading Captain America, I would say wait till the first trade. Okay, now Daredevil number 25. Last issue, Daredevil met one of the escapees from the people who were trying to recreate the accident to give Daredevil his powers, and the guy who showed up leads Daredevil to an abandoned warehouse where they were conducting the experiment. And unfortunately, though, once he brought Daredevil to the safe house, suddenly the guy dies because they programmed a pacemaker in his heart to give out whenever he led Daredevil to the exact place. So then Daredevil falls into the warehouse because he was standing on a glass roof, and part of the roof that was like a glass overhead thing. Anyways, he falls in, and there Daredevil is confronted by Ikari, who is actually on the cover, but but we get the full view of him, and his costume is pretty much very similar to Daredevil's first costume, which was yellow and looked more like his dad's old boxer outfit. And Ikari's even wearing his dad's old boxing robe. So at the beginning, but then, and of course that really makes Matt mad, and then they start to fight, and while they're fighting, Matt flashes back to when he was a boy, and just after his accident, and he was receiving his training from Stick. So that was a very nice little interesting thing for this issue. And ultimately, though, Daredevil is able to trap Ikari and almost lead Ikari into a sporting goods store where he thinks he has the upper hand. Also, Ikari does have the radar sense. The experiment was apparently successful on him, so he leads Ikari into a sporting goods store. He activates the sprinklers to confuse the radar sense. But right when Daredevil gets ready to strike, is reaching out for a bat to strike him, he discovers that Ikari isn't blind. And of course that shocks Daredevil, and it gives Ikari the upper hand, and he pretty much beats Daredevil almost to death. Almost. Because here's the thing, right when he can almost kill Daredevil, Ikari doesn't, and he warns him, and he tells him that, yeah, the people who want, this is a taste of what the people who made me want to do. The only thing they don't want you to know is when. They want it to be a surprise. And so Ikari basically lets Matt live for now, but that doesn't mean the people who are trying to kill Daredevil are done with him just yet. They want him to kill him. They've given him a taste about how they're going to do it, but they want it to be a surprise. Interesting. Very interesting. Daredevil number 25, very nice issue. I mean, this is a very amazing series that Marvel has out right now. We're still... I mean, the thing about the mystery about, who's behind all this, we still don't have the exact information, but we now have an idea about what they have planned for Matt, but we just don't know when they're going to do it. And I kind of like that. It's kind of, the whole idea that we haven't figured it out yet is kind of a bittersweet thing. I mean, the mystery is tempting. It keeps me, for me, the mystery kind of keeps me attracted to the story arc. It keeps me interested, but at the same time, I still want to figure out who it is immediately before they drag it out. But overall, Daredevil is an amazing issue, an awesome series. I would definitely recommend this to people to give it a shot. Okay, next up, one of my all-time favorite Marvel Now titles, Superior Spider-Man number 8. Okay, from last issue, Spider-Man was fighting the Avengers because they've been suspicious about his behavior. And at the beginning, they're fighting him, and they're able to knock him out, and they run their tests on Spider-Man, and they're able to prove he's not a Skrull, or possessed by a Space Phantom, or a bunch of other stuff. They're able to prove that he's 100% Peter Parker. And of course, Spider-Man sees some of the test results, and he notices that there's an anomaly in his brain patterns, a minor anomaly that only he notices. So he asks, can he take the results with him to review by himself? And they say sure. But however, Spider-Man is on probation. So if he makes another mistake, if he gets out of line again, he's fired. That's really not looking good for Otto right now. And of course, later Black Widow talks to Spider-Man and asks him how he's doing since he killed Massacre, and how now he kind of has red in his ledger. And if he needs any help, and he's been acting differently since the whole Ends of the Earth story arc, and she offers to give him a hand if he ever needs someone to talk. And of course, while he's talking to Black Widow, Peter Parker, who again we know is still a little bit conscious in his body, is able to briefly take control of his right hand again and leave a little message trying to say that Dr. Octopus is in my body. Unfortunately, it's still not clear. When Black Widow notices the message after Spider-Man leaves, she thinks that he drew a spider. It's pretty much like an octopus, his attempt at drawing an octopus, but she thinks it's a spider, unfortunately. And Otto goes back to Horizon. He goes to his lab to review the results, but he needs a better equipment to look at his brainwaves. So he realizes he needs to get his helmet back from the guy who stole it, Cardiac. And Spider-Man goes to Cardiac's clinic, and he fights him for the helmet until Cardiac explains to him that he needs the helmet to help save this girl's life who received brain damage as a result from getting into a car accident the day Dr. Octopus nearly destroyed the ozone layer. And so, Otto kind of realizing this girl is in the hospital because of him, he has some remorse and says look, I'll be able to help you work this helmet because I've been studying Otto Octavius's technology. And he's able to get the helmet working, and after they perform all the surgeries and stuff, Cardiac talks to Spider-Man, and Otto says that if you need any help running this place, just let me know. In exchange, I get to borrow this helmet for a few minutes. Cardiac agrees to let Spider-Man use the helmet for, whatever it is he needs, and they also discuss. And when the surgery's done, they figure out that the girl is perfectly fine. She's made a full recovery, and she thanks Spider-Man for all his help. And so Otto leaves with the helmet, and he goes back to Horizon to scan his brain yet again. And after he's done scanning his brain, Peter makes a comment like, "Oh man, you're not going to get away with this, Ock. I'm totally gonna figure out a way to get my body back." And then Otto says, "No, you won't, Peter." So now Otto is aware that Peter Parker is still inside his head, and he orders the living brain to help him prepare his equipment because he's going to perform, as he calls it, a Parkerectomy. So now Otto's going to try to figure out a way to get rid of Peter Parker for good this time. Superior Spider-Man number 8. I really do like this title. As far as trying to redeem a villain, trying to turn a supervillain, Dr. Octopus, into a superhero, kind of like giving them a path of redemption to become a superhero Spider-Man. It's a good series for that. And also it is funny, it has been funny seeing Peter Parker as a ghost, kind of like giving his own little 2 cents during the whole thing. That's been pretty funny. But yeah, Superior Spider-Man number 8. A lot of people were skeptical after the end of 700, saying that this series was going to suck. They said that they were going to hate it, but all those people have had nothing but positive words, and I agree. This is one awesome series. Dan Slott is a brilliant writer. Pretty much, I think from now on, if he's writing anything Spider-Man, I'm going to buy it. But man, this was a great little 2-parter with the Avengers and everything. And as far as him being on probation, I totally called that. I remember saying that, okay, he's probably going to be on probation or something. Well, called it. And, it's been great. And I really can't wait for issue number 9, which is going to be like the big final showdown for Peter Parker's body between Peter Parker and Otto Octavius. I can't wait to see that in a couple of weeks. I mean, I'm loving Superior Spider-Man. If you are not reading this, I would say get issue 7, then get this issue, and you'll get the full story arc, and that'll give you like the nice little lead into issue 9, which is apparently going to be a big game changer, which I hope it is. Okay, that's it for my comic review this week. Quick little recap: Superior Spider-Man number 8, Part 2 of Fired. Really like the story arc. Also, I enjoyed the return of Cardiac. Very nice story. Great lead into issue number 9. Can't wait to pick that up, and this is still one of my favorite series. Daredevil number 25. Daredevil continues to be an amazing series. If you haven't been reading this, you should start picking it up. Go back a few issues, and trust me, you'll love this. Captain America number 6. Very different feel for Captain America, but nevertheless, it's an enjoyable ride. I can't wait to see the ending of this, and I really hope Cap is able to get back to Earth with Ian. Iron Man number 8. Just skip the God Killer story arc. It's not very eventful, dull. Just skip it. Nightwing number 19. Great jumping point for people who haven't been reading this. You should be reading Nightwing. It's awesome. Dick Grayson is now in Chicago. He's going to try to find the man who killed his parents. Can't wait to see what happens next. Highly recommend it. Justice League number 19. Nice little jump on point for people who want to start reading this before Trinity War starts. Also, if you like Tower of Babel, I recommend you give this issue a try, and the next issue. Can't wait to see what happens. Really like Justice League. And again, this is a great jump on point for people who want to get ready for Trinity War this summer. Okay, that is it for me and my comic review this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.